Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's program. We're going to be beginning our program, our official program, in just a few minutes. So if you would, please go ahead and make your way up to the seats here at the front of the room, and we'll get started with our official program in just a few minutes. Thank you, everyone.
That's great.
There. She knows how it's done. She knows how it's done.
It's really bright.
It is bright.
That's a lot.
You're a star.
I'm not.
Alan's here. All right. I will, as soon as Alan is ready, I'll just give you a cue and we'll go right into it. There's no intro video.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. All right, thank you. That was pretty quick, just quiet down. I appreciate that. So, welcome to the Columbus Metropolitan Club. Founded in 1976 by 13 visionary women leaders, CMC's mission is to connect people and ideas through community conversation. And tonight, we're looking forward to a very special conversation. I'm Kelly Atkinson, the Director of Business Systems at Barnes & Thornburg, and I'm the proud chair of the CMC Board of Trustees. We are so pleased you have all joined us tonight at the beautiful Columbus Museum of Art for a special CEO celebration. Thank you, yes, celebrate. We are in for a treat tonight as we thank CMC's President and CEO, Jane Scott, for her incredible service. And we welcome CMC's next leader, Sophia Fifner. We're also joined by the one and only Colleen Marshall, anchor with NBC and the host of NBC4's The Spectrum. We're looking forward to a wonderful evening and so happy that you are all with us. I want to thank tonight's supporters, King Business Interiors and the Columbus Dispatch, our gracious host, the Columbus Museum of Art, and the Center for Human Kindness at the Columbus Foundation and the Columbus Dispatch for presenting tonight's live stream. Let's thank all of those supporting tonight's forum. All right, before we hear from Colleen, Jane, and Sophia, we do have some special guests who would like to say a few words of appreciation. Unfortunately, representatives of Columbus City Council and the Franklin County Board of Commissioners could not stay with us for tonight's program, but I am very honored on their behalf to present Jane with this. So I have two different things here. I'm hoping I don't drop them. Here is the resolution of expression from the Columbus City Council. Look at this. Fancy. All right. Yes. And also the resolution from the Franklin County Board of Commissioners, both in recognition of her leadership. Congratulations, Jane. And I'm now going to turn the podium over to Donna Zeiderweg, I knew I'd still mess it up, with the Columbus Metropolitan Library for a few words. Donna, forgive me, welcome.
It happens all the time. Jane, CML and CMC have a lot in common, and you've been such a wonderful compatriot over the years, advancing ideas and promoting knowledge, encouraging our community to be informed and engaged on all the issues that were important to Columbus. The library couldn't let this opportunity pass without acknowledging your wonderful work. And we are dedicating a book in your honor to our library collection. I know this is like really exciting reading, so I know you guys are all going to want to check this out. It's called Civic Dialogue: Overcoming Polarization in the Public Square. Right? So the acknowledgement, it also has this wonderful book plate in it, and it says, Jane Scott. This book is dedicated to Jane Scott in recognition of her tenure and leadership of Columbus Metropolitan Club and in celebration of CMC's shared mission to encourage open access to dialogue and information. So this copy is going to go home with you so that you can make sure that you read it. When people ask about it after they've checked it out in the collection, you'll be able to say, you know, like you've read it. So I will hold on to this for you this evening, but I just want to say how grateful we are that you've done such wonderful work over the years, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you, Donna. That's nice. Thank you.
So it's now my pleasure to turn the podium over to one more special guest, and that's Joe Ingalls with the State House News Bureau. Joe, thanks.
Thank you.
Jane, you've meant so much to public broadcasting, the TV station, the radio station. We really appreciate everything you've done. And my colleague, Karen Kassler, and I could not let you go into retirement without saying something about how special you are. So without further ado.
Jane. It's Joe Ingalls here at Ohio Public Radio and TV.
And it's Karen Kassler here from the State House News Bureau.
Hey, I just want to say congratulations on your retirement. You've been through it all. You've had everything thrown at you, from COVID to technical difficulties to even dealing with pesky reporters like us. But seriously, you've done everything well, and you've given me a lot of opportunities. I've really enjoyed moderating the debates and being part of panels and talking to former governors and all kinds of different people that I would have never had the chance to interact with, all the movers and shakers. You've really made a lot happen at the CMC, and we're very grateful for it. So best to you.
And I remember going to the Metropolitan Club Forums when I was starting out in journalism, not only because of the subject matter and the people who were speaking, but also all the people who were there.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I got an opportunity to be part of a forum, it was just so exciting. And you've made those forums so great. And we're really going to miss you. I'm going to miss your presence there. I'm going to miss your thank you notes. And
those are the best.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So best of luck, best wishes in your retirement, and thanks for everything you've done.
Thanks, Jane.
Thank you. Thanks, Joe. Thank you. That was nice.
So now it's my very great pleasure to introduce not one, but two current CEOs of the Columbus Metropolitan Club, Jane Scott and Sophia Fifner, and our esteemed host, Colleen Marshall. So Colleen, we're looking forward to tonight's conversation. Take it away.
Thank you very much. I do want to say thank you. I want to start out by saying to the library, when I retire, dedicate something from James Patterson, okay? I don't want a civic book. I do thank you all for being here tonight. This is a bittersweet night because we say goodbye to a leader that is very difficult to replace, but we welcome one who gives us great promise. I'm going to start with you, Jane, though. You are getting ready to step down after many years leading a pretty incredible organization. So what's on your mind tonight as you sit here?
Oh, wow. Well, I'm, first of all, overwhelmed that there are so many people here, and it's quite amazing. I think I probably know 99% of the people, which that's been
not the people you don't know.
I think they're guests of the people that I do know. And that has been probably the biggest gift of being in this role. But I'm glad you gave me the opening that I needed, because I told my team the first thing I wanted to do was to say thank yous. And there are lots and lots of thank yous. I'm sorry I can't name everybody by name, but there's a few people that I do need to call out. And the top on the list is my husband, Chris. You know, I can remember the spot in the road that I was driving that Chris called, and he said, "Hey, did you know that Megan Melby's leaving the Metropolitan Club? Maybe you should apply for the job." And I said, well, okay, we can talk about that. And sure enough, I applied for the job, and I'm absolutely positive I was the most qualified for the least amount of money. But that's great. But Chris has been with me every step of the way. He has always gone with me to virtually every event that I've asked him to go with me. And I think everybody in this room probably knows Chris at least as well as I do. And probably half of you are customers of his. Yeah, you laugh because you know. Next on the list, and I mean, I could not have had the success in this job without his support. I really couldn't. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, because he's been my biggest fan and my biggest cheerleader and my most honest critic. I really can trust his judgment. Next is my team, Lainey Cuthbert, Mantra Moody, Doug Buchanan, they're all around the room, our amazing marketing director. Amanda Sage is here. She's responsible for our graphics. Any of you that lead organizations know absolutely that you get a lot of credit for the work that other people do. And these are the folks that really put these forums together. And Joe and Karen gave me a lot of credit in their comments. But, you know, it's a team that puts these programs together, and they really keep the wheels on. And they're professional, they're talented, and they're a lot of fun to work with. So that makes life very good. My board, my current board, my former board members, there's a lot of former board members that are here. I have to call out one. Nick Ashew lives in New Hampshire. He was traveling and he made a detour to be here. He hired me. Nick, where are you? And that's just indicative to the quality and the dedication of the boards that I've worked with over the years. And the volunteers, all the committees, there's dozens of people that work on our committees behind the scenes. The Rick Buchanan's our official photographer. Ian Crumpler's here, he takes pictures. Joey Thomas is at the door every week. And we absolutely could not do our show without Alan Reese and Josie and Evan and the folks from CTV. They brought their equipment over tonight to be able to do this for us. That's really special. And I know I'm going to forget people in that range, but they're just amazing folks that volunteer hours and hours of time and talent. And just two other groups, really. The members, you folks are faithful. You kept us going through COVID. You paid for virtual seats that you could have gotten the stuff for free. And some people even spent $100 to sit at my imaginary speaker's table. You know, so you really kept us going, and it means an awful lot to us. There's a lot of lifetime members. We have so many lifetime members now that Mantra didn't even have enough ribbons for all of you tonight. Who are our lifetime members? Stand up. So I hope that's inspiration to anyone else who wants to be a lifetime member. And our sponsors, they foot the bill for the whole thing. 60% of our budget comes from our sponsors. And if it wasn't for their financial support, we wouldn't be doing these things. It just wouldn't physically be possible. And I want to thank one other group that we don't thank often enough in general. This community and the people in this community that eagerly come on the CMC stage, they share their time, they share their expertise, they share their thoughts and their wisdom. They're recorded. The moderators like you and Joe and Mike Thompson, there's a bunch of you here in the room. This doesn't happen in every community. I think this is a message I want to send home with all of you, and this woman knows this too. The Metropolitan Club is one of only a handful of organizations like this in the whole country. Now think about that. Think what a special gift we have here. And it wouldn't happen if people weren't open and willing to be on stage. So give yourselves all a round of applause. This is a gem.
Well, Sophia, you know she has laid the groundwork. This, of course, she didn't start the organization, but she certainly has elevated it. So as you sit here tonight, what's on your mind, and how is this informing your vision for the Metropolitan Club?
Yeah, well, first, similar to Jane, I would like to just thank everyone who's here today, our lifetime members, our sponsors, the individuals in the community who show up every single week for an engaging conversation about issues that matter. We wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for you and our founders and Jane. So when I'm thinking about the future of this organization, one that means so much to so many community members, the first thing that I'm really thinking about is how can we bring and elevate more voices to the table? We all know that Columbus is a wonderful, diverse, dynamic community with so many amazing things happening. I really am excited to welcome more diverse voices to our table, to have meaningful, challenging conversations, especially in 2023, when we speak to our neighbors, that there are some challenges that we're all facing. And I want to make sure that we have a space for those conversations here. Jane mentioned that the Columbus Metropolitan Club is a unique gem for the United States. And truly it is, trust me. It's part of the board knows I shared during my interview process. I researched every single video footage I could find of the CMC, every organization that might be similar to the CMC. And truly there's nothing like this. And oftentimes when you read about civic engagement, I often read that there are a lot of civic engagement or civic deserts where people don't have a space to connect. And I'm so excited to build on the work that Jane has accomplished to elevate the organization even more and to really bring as many diverse people to the table as they possibly can.
You know, over the years, when I was on the board for about a decade, I served the entire time on the program committee. And Jane, we know some of the programs are just sparkling gems, and some of them fall flat. So who really stunk, in your opinion? No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I just wanted to see the look of panic on her face. No, as you look back at some of the amazing programs, what did you like best? What did you really care for? What sticks out?
Oh, wow. Well, I have to say, obviously I've been thinking about this, but one that I think was, just extraordinary. We had a forum about tearing cities that are down. And I had an opportunity to have Bill Smith, Harrison Smith, sit at the speaker's table with me. Some of you probably all know Harrison Smith was basically the founder of the Columbus Downtown Commission. And he was very, very involved with a lot of major development in the city and was a mover and shaker. I knew him a little bit, but I had him sit with me at the speaker's table. And we were chit-chatting, and I finally said, so what's new in your life? And he said to me, well, does having inoperable cancer count? And I said, oh my gosh, and we talked about that, and literally his days were numbered. And I said, would you like to come on the CMC stage and talk to us about your legacy and the projects and the things that have been important to you here in Columbus? And he just lit up. He just lit up. So I rallied the program committee online. I said, we got to do this. We recruited Keith Myers to do the interview. And I think within like 3 weeks, we had him up there. And at the athletic club, both rooms were full. It was packed audience, just packed. And Keith did a marvelous job of bringing out Bill's personality and getting him to talk about the things that had meant so much to him. And I think at the end, there wasn't a dry eye in the audience. And Harrison Smith, Bill Smith was just beaming. He just lit up the stage. And he died less than a month later. And they used that video at his funeral. I walked out of that forum that day saying, this is why I'm here. And that probably is one that is, for all the circumstances, is way above everything else. But how do you not enjoy Jane Goodall, Arnold Schwarzenegger? We've just had some amazing people.
It has been political quite often, which of course I enjoy. Sometimes it is not political. It's been social, and sometimes it's a lighter topic. We are in a time right now, and I'm going to address this to you, Sophia. I know you have a background in philanthropy, but also in equality and issues surrounding that. That has become, who would have expected it to be, a point of debate. And in some states, diversity, equity, inclusion is being outlawed. So is this something you see yourself, because of your background, tackling on the stage, or kind of hoping that we have more dialogue about that?
Yeah, honestly, I think that my personal experience and my lived experience makes me a really unique leader for today, 2023. For those who don't know me, I'm the daughter of immigrants. I grew up in rural Ohio, very similar to Jane. One of my first jobs was working on Capitol Hill for Senator Voinovich. And one of my most recent jobs was working under the Andy Ginther administration for the city of Columbus in Recreation and Parks. And I'm an individual who's passionate about gender equity. I serve as the chair of the Women's Fund. So to answer your question, diversity, equity, and inclusion is so critical, and conversations about what that means to communities is so essential to so many Ohioans, but especially here in Central Ohio. So as the new CEO of the Columbus Metropolitan Club, it's something that I look forward to tackling every single day. I think that we need a space to have those conversations in a meaningful way with diverse perspectives, and I'm looking forward to doing that in the years to come.
You know, Jane, one thing that we can say about your leadership is we have seen amazing growth of this organization in the time that we've been here, not just with membership, but financially. You know, tell us a little bit about how where you started and what you are leaving now for Sophia as to kind of pick up the mantle.
Well, there are some board members here that were in my first board. I didn't do a deep dive into the books of the Metropolitan Club when I took the job. I was assured that it was stable, and it was. Don't get me wrong, nobody misled me. But we changed from cash accounting to accrual accounting, if that means something to some of you. And I realized that we owed a lot of people bills. We had a lot of bills. So, I was thinking about defining moments. And one of the defining moments I had was a board meeting in December of 2003, 3 months after I started, having to tell the chair, Janet Jackson, that we only had a few $1,000s in the checking account. That was a defining moment. So now to have over $1 million of net assets. I do feel good about that. I came into this as a business person, and I think I made some board members very, very uncomfortable when I told them point blank that nonprofit is a tax status, not a business model. They didn't like that, but they didn't mind when the organization was growing.
And it has grown in membership as well. I mean, every week you're welcoming new members and first-time members, and I think you were the one who started this lifetime membership, which I think is an amazing idea for this kind of an organization. What do you feel like you might have left undone?
Oh gosh, there's a Wednesday in every week. So that forums are product, and they dictate the time and the energy and the attention. So a lot of the blue sky thinking and the strategic thinking are things that don't always get done. I think we could probably double membership again. It was about 500 when I started, and I think we're right about 1,500 now. But that's just scratching the surface. Like Sophia says, there's so many people that should be involved that aren't. What have I left on the table? I think one of the biggest disappointments, because you do have 1,500 members, as much as you'd like to know every single person individually, you just cannot manage that. And that just breaks my heart when I can't be close and personal to everyone. But I hope that we have an open, welcoming organization, and regardless of whether they know me personally or I know them personally, when they come to the Metropolitan Club, it's a good place to be. There are lots of other projects. I've given her a list of some things I would have liked to have done. I would like to see the big organizations, or any company for that matter, now that we live stream, why couldn't a company have a lunchroom on Wednesday and invite their employees to come in and use that as a hook to get people back in their offices? Hey, the executive's going to, the CEO is going to buy lunch if you come in on Wednesday, and we're going to watch the CMC forum together. I don't know. I think there's lots of creative things like that could be done. And she's super, and she's so creative and so energetic and so idealistic that she'll get all this done.
Very ideal. Well, I'm getting the signal. I have a question before we go for each of you. And for you, it is, what is job one? What are we going to expect to see from you?
Oh, gee. I am a product of my generation, and I'll give a short story. So my first week, I've been 3 weeks on the job, and we had an opportunity to just go through our books. And I share with you that every single thing that I get to do connected to this organization brings me so much joy and complete bliss. Even going through our reconciliation process line by line by line. Oh, $10.98 to Staples. Wow, okay, what was that for? I get really excited about it. By product of my generation, I am so thankful to Jane and her fiscal stewardship of this organization. Jane, every single penny is accounted for. I have the best organization to think about what the future looks like because I don't have to worry about what does it mean to our sponsors, where there's gift agreement letters, et cetera. I have an incredibly sound organization. So the first thing that I'm looking forward to doing as CEO is honestly getting to know our sponsors, our members, our partners more deeply. I want to hear from you. What do you see in this organization? For me, as the product of my generation, I really want to leverage social media. I want to bring more young people into this room. And I love this room, but I want to see 8th graders. I want to see 21-year-olds at our forums on a regular basis. So I really want to make sure that our information is accessible to everyone. And I mentioned that because today in the Washington Post, there was an article about civic education in America. And it's a disaster, right? We need a renaissance in civic education. And I see the Columbus Metropolitan Club as a wonderful gateway into understanding the most important issues that are happening right here in Central Ohio. So I'm really looking forward to getting to know every single one of you, hearing from your ideas, what inspires you, because I hope, we have one of our founders here today. I hope that we are here for another 50 years, right? So I'm really excited.
Hey, by the way, yeah, very good. If I didn't say it, welcome. And if I didn't say it to you, you've been such a good friend. And to those of us who have moderated, who went through COVID with you, who've been with you over the many years here and watched your leadership and your fiscal responsibility, I do want you to have a chance to say what you hope your legacy is for this organization.
The next 50 years. It really does take my breath away a little bit. When we celebrated the 30th anniversary right after it was only 3 years after I got here, we invited all of the founders, and there were quite a few that were able to come. There were 13 women that founded this organization because they weren't welcomed. You all know this story. And I will. And yes, I know. But that 30th anniversary, we were able to get many of them together. And it was a reunion for them. We had corsages for them. We escorted them in. And the joy and the pride that was in that room was just overwhelming. And it's always inspired me. And yes, Mary's here. Mary, stand up. God bless you, Mary. I also want to introduce you to someone that you may not know as well. Lee Bracken is here. Lee, stand up. Her mother, Harriet, was one of the founders of the Metropolitan Club. Lee has moved back to Columbus from a very successful career in Boston, and she and I have forged a friendship. There's so many of you in the room that mean so much to me in so many different ways. John Comerford, God bless you for picking up the mantle and doing the civic engagement class. Many of you may not know, but I dangled this idea out in front of John in a kind of a public setting. It was a think tank kind of a focus group that he was having about Otterbein. And I said, well, we kind of have this idea that there should be a college class for students about civic engagement, and they could come to the Metropolitan Club on Wednesdays. And before he even got it explained, he says, we'll do it and I'll teach it. And you've had 2 classes now. That commitment to what Sophia's saying to the next generation of citizens, I hope is something that I've planted that seed firmly, and that other universities, Melanie Korn did a class with CCAD, Ohio State's done some work. That to me is something that means a great deal to me, that we can get college students involved when they're so impressionable. And come on, people, we want to keep these people in Columbus. What a better tool do we have but introducing them to the community through the Metropolitan Club. So that is one thing I really I look at that as one of the things that I hope I planted that seed and it'll grow into a very prosperous tree. But you know, this has just been a joy and so much fun, and I hope that I've given you all something that's made it worthwhile.
It certainly has.
I know.
Please. Well, thank you to both of you. And I know you all join me in wishing Sophia the success that we've seen with Jane. And Jane, we'll see you next Wednesday at a meeting. Thank you all. That was great.
Okay, Colleen, Jane, and Sophia, thank you all very much. Let's give them just one more round of applause. You know they deserve it. And I also want to thank you once again and thank all of tonight's sponsors and supporters, the King Business Interiors, the Columbus Dispatch, our host, the Columbus Museum of Art, and the Center for Human Kindness at the Columbus Foundation, and the Columbus Dispatch for supporting the live stream. And very special appreciation, of course, to our speakers, Jane Scott, Sophia Fifner, and Colleen Marshall. And to all of you, enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you for being here.
Hi, the staff would like to present our two CEOs with a little bit of a goodbye and a little bit of a hello. And for Jane and Chris Scott, we wanted to present them with lifetime memberships to the CMC.